Long ago, in a village nestled between rolling hills and a dense forest, lived a giant dragon. Its scales shimmered emerald in the sunlight, and its roar shook the very foundations of the nearby homes. For years, the villagers had lived in fear of the dragon, its fiery breath scorching their fields, its mighty claws trampling their crops. Every night they huddled indoors, praying it wouldn't come for them. Their greatest fear wasn't the dragon's fire or its strength, but its cunning. The dragon was said to be as intelligent as a human, capable of outsmarting even the cleverest of men. As time passed, tales of the dragon's destructive power grew, morphing into terrifying myths. Villagers spun stories of how the dragon snatched livestock from their pens, how it swooped down, snatching unwary travelers off the road, and how it guarded its mountain lair with a hoard of stolen treasure. These stories became part of the village's folklore, whispered around hearths on cold winter nights, each retelling amplifying the dragon's mystique and instilling a deep-seated terror in the hearts of every villager. For instance, whenever little Yalara heard the dragon's roar echoing through the valley, she would hide under her bed, clutching her favorite doll. Her parents would soothe her, assuring her that while the dragon might be fierce, it wouldn't hurt a hair on her head. They told her that the dragon only went after animals and didn't like the taste of humans. But Ilara wasn't convinced. She couldn't understand why anyone would want to live in fear of a monster. Then, one day, curiosity got the better of her. While her parents were out in the fields, Ilara decided to sneak out and investigate. She crept to the edge of the forest, her heart pounding. As she peered through the trees, she could see the dragon lounging on a rock, its massive head resting on its paws. It looked so regal, so majestic, that Ilara was mesmerized. She watched as the dragon spread its wings, feeling a sudden pang of sympathy. If the dragon had those wings, it must have been injured somehow. Suddenly, the dragon let out a piercing roar, startling Ilara, who ran home, promising herself she'd never tell anyone about what she'd seen. Instead, she confided in her grandmother, sharing her newfound belief that the dragon wasn't a fearsome monster, but a wounded creature in need of help. Her grandmother listened patiently, then smiled knowingly. She told Ilara about an ancient legend, a tale of a kind-hearted princess who befriended a ferocious dragon. The princess, driven by compassion, nursed the dragon back to health and discovered that its fierceness was only a byproduct of its pain. Inspired by the story, Ilara decided to follow in the princess's footsteps. Each day after that, she snuck out to the forest edge, bringing the dragon water and berries. At first, the dragon hissed and snapped, but Ilara didn't run away. She stood her ground, offering the dragon food and soothing words. Slowly but surely, the dragon began to trust her, allowing her to approach and even touch its snout. One day, as Ilara sat beside the dragon, she noticed its wing was entangled in some thorny bushes. Carefully, she began untangling the dragon's wing, and the dragon winced in pain. "I'm sorry," Ilara whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. The dragon nudged her hand with its snout, as if thanking her. And in that moment, Ilara knew she had formed a bond with the dragon. Word of Ilara's daily visits to the dragon reached the ears of the village elder, a stern, bearded man who had lost a son to the dragon's wrath. He decided to pay Ilara a visit, his face etched with concern. When he found her by the dragon, his jaw dropped in disbelief. Calling out to Ilara, the dragon turned its head. Its eyes narrowed suspiciously. Seeing the dragon's hostility, the elder stepped forward and firmly told Ilara to come home. But Ilara refused. She knew the dragon would unhurt her, and she felt it was her responsibility to care for the creature. The elder sighed, realizing the depth of Ilara's compassion. He sat down beside Ilara and asked the dragon its name, which turned out to be Ignis, meaning fire in Latin. The elder apologized for the villagers' behavior, explaining that fear had driven them to treat Ignis cruelly. Ignis, however, seemed to harbor no grudges. It simply nodded its head, understanding the villagers' fear. With the elder's permission, Ilara continued visiting Ignis, bringing it food and listening to its tales of ancient times when dragons roamed freely across the land. Ignis told her about the great dragon city hidden deep within the mountains, a place where dragons lived in harmony with nature. It spoke of a time before dragons were seen as monsters, when they were revered as guardians of the natural world. Ilara listened intently, her imagination soaring. She wished she could live in a time when dragons weren't feared, when they were celebrated. She realized that the reason Ignis lashed out was because of its pain, a pain that had been ignored for so long. But now that she had befriended Ignis, it was her duty to help it heal, not just its physical wounds, but also the pain in its heart. And so, Ilara made it her mission to bring the villagers and Ignis together. She organized a feast, inviting everyone from the village, including the grumpy elder. As the villagers gathered, their fear of Ignis palpable, Ilara approached them, her eyes shining with determination. She told them about her friendship with Ignis, how it wasn't a monster, but a misunderstood creature. She invited them to meet Ignis, to see for themselves that it wasn't the monster they'd made it out to be. At first, the villagers were hesitant, but Ilara's infectious enthusiasm gradually won them over. One by one, they followed her towards Ignis, their faces etched with a mixture of apprehension and wonder. When the villagers came face to face with Ignis, their fear started to melt away, replaced by awe and respect. Ignis, sensing their change of heart, dipped its head in greeting. The villagers, in turn, offered Ignis gifts of food and flowers, and Ignis graciously accepted them. From that day forward, the relationship between the villagers and Ignis changed dramatically. What once was a relationship built on fear and mistrust transformed into one rooted in mutual respect and understanding. The villagers no longer saw Ignis as a monster, but as a member of their community, a being deserving of kindness and respect. In the years that followed, Ignis became a beloved member of the village. Its wisdom and knowledge of the natural world enriched the lives of the villagers, and its presence brought a sense of peace and tranquility to the land. The dragon that was once feared became a symbol of hope, reminding them that even the most fearsome of creatures can find redemption through understanding and compassion. And all because a young girl named Ilara dared to befriend it. As the sun set over the village, casting long shadows across the land, Ilara sat beside Ignis, her heart filled with contentment. She looked up at the sky, its vastness mirroring the boundless possibilities of friendship and understanding. Beside her, Ignis let out a contented sigh, its presence a constant reminder of the extraordinary bond they shared. In the quiet of the evening, their unlikely friendship stood as a beacon, illuminating the path toward understanding and harmony between all living beings. The end.